Waj, always great to see you, sir. I was just talking with Senator Kelly there, and he made it some real powerful statements there about how this is a country of immigrants. No matter what Donald Trump says and Stephen Miller says, and the terrible example being set by ICE and so on, that this is still a country of immigrants. Your thoughts on? I mean, it was a shithole of a rally last night for Donald Trump.
My thoughts are this: you and me are proud children of immigrants. They keep telling us to go back. We ain't going back. We're here. White supremacy. I'm talking about white supremacy now. It's an ideology of losers. It's a failed narrative. There's no such thing as a master race. We're all a mix and match of all these different folks. There's no pure race, folks. Race is a social construct. This country, I want to remind all the viewers, this country saw Irish as not being white. This country saw Italians as not being white. This Benjamin Franklin hated Germans, right? So Donald Trump and all these people who love when he says, go back to your shithole countries, go back to third world countries. We want only the pure people from Norway. Your people were not considered white. In fact, everything that he says about Somalis, Haitians, Muslims, black people, Jim, they said this against Italians. They said this against the Irish. They said this against the Eastern European Jews. They said this against Cubans. And Cubans have had enough, because last night I saw something, and I want to ask you about this. I mean, I looked at those numbers. Eileen Higgins winning in mayor of Miami. First
Big
woman
time
to ever be elected. First Democrat in 28 years. And first non-Latino in 30 years. She won, Jim. I thought, okay, she'll win by 5 to 7 points. She won by 19 points. Then you saw the crosstabs. That means Cubans for the first time vote. I mean, I don't think, if people who don't understand, they all think there's a Latino vote. No, it doesn't work that way.
That's right.
But maybe for the first time, we're witnessing an actual Latino bloc literally voting against MAGA. And then Harry Enton on CNN today said it was Latino shift has been negative 38-point swing.
Yeah.
So he's lost so many people, because I think a lot of the Cubans who are you know this, Jim, die hard. My granddaddy voted Republican. My daddy voted Republican.
That's right.
And they're like, you suck. Your policies suck. I didn't vote for this. You see me coming from a shithole country. I didn't vote for ICE terrorizing us. F you.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote for Eileen Higgins.
No, you're absolutely right. I think it's a great point. And honestly, you know, I will say I don't think Cubans are a monolithic group, sort of like Latinos are not a monolithic group. But down in Miami, they're pretty damn Republican. Down in Miami, they're definitely. I grew up in Northern Virginia. My dad came up here when he was 11 years old. And so he was sort of like, I call him one of the original dreamers, because he was, you know, in this area, there weren't a whole lot of Latino kids running around, and certainly not a lot of Cuban kids. And so he had a different experience growing up. So I had a different experience. But down in Miami, definitely a lot of Republicans. And this is how toxic Donald Trump and his brand is becoming. The Cubans in Miami are voting for a Democrat.
That's wild. That's wild, Jim.
That's some loco shit. And, you know, I mean, one of the problems I had with Donald Trump last night, I mean, he is getting more and more orange. This is burnt sienna. The shade that he's wearing these days. If he loves the whites so much, take off the fucking makeup. Go white.
Why are you trying to get a fake tan? White. I'm talking about white supremacy, and I know your audience knows the difference. If you are white, welcome. You're part of the multicultural coalition of the willing. We're talking about white supremacists, neo-Nazis, hate mongers, right? These folks hate us, but they want to be us. They want the tans. They want our food. They want the seasoned chicken. You know, they love our women and men who are gorgeous. They love our music. That's what multiculturalism is, and it includes white people. And that's why I think it's an ideology of losers. It's a losing ideology, because the world will never be white, all right, which is a social construct. The world is mixed. Even if they try to have a master race, right? There's too many of us. Too many brown. I've traveled around the world. So many brown people, biracial people, black people, Asian people, and then Jim, if they get their dream, let's just play this out. You do remigration, right? Which basically is a Nazi term that they're using now, folks. I'm not making this up. Remigration is a Nazi term that has now been mainstream by the Trump
administration. You're right about that.
It's called ethnic cleansing. They want us all out. All right, you get us all out. What will happen to this country the next day, Jim, if all of us leave? It will transform into a shithole. It's already happening. Foreign travel has gone down under Trump. We've lost billions of dollars. There's been a brain drain. The best scientists are leaving. The best.
Right.
We've seen Canada go to China. Soy farmers are like suicidal now because of a stupid trade war.
And Norwegians don't want to come here. The Swedes and the Norwegians, they have a good life in Sweden and Norway. And the other thing too is about Miami is Eileen Higgins. She ran in a message of affordability. I've been saying, like, Democrats worry they have a brand problem. Maybe they should call themselves the Affordability Party. I don't know. Maybe that's a good way to go for the next few years. But she ran on affordability and did very well down there. Trump has a rally that's supposed to be on affordability, craps all over it. This is what he said last night about how you don't need to have 37 dolls. I'm sure you saw this, Watch, but let's talk about this.
You can give up certain products. You can give up pencils. Because under the China policy, every child can get 37 pencils. They only need one or two. They don't need that many. But you always need steel. You don't need 37 dolls for your daughter. 2 or 3 is nice, but you don't need 37 dolls.
This is the guy that has gold everywhere in the Oval Office, wants a $250 million ballroom, wants a golden Qatari jet. I mean, he is so full of shit. He is such a stereotypical Richie Rich kid from New York, spoiled by his parents, never had any accountability, never had to do anything for himself. He's the OG Nepo baby. And he's telling everybody else, no $37 for you. What world is he from?
Billions for me and Elon Musk, no dolls and pencils for your kids. It's like,
Nope.
let me go with the Scrooge McDuck angle, and let's see if I can win over people who are literally crying because they can't afford groceries, because their electricity bill has gone up, because they're about to lose healthcare. Let's see if I can run with the affordability is a con message after Zoran Mamdani just had a historic win, after Eileen Higgins had a win. This is who they are. This is who they are. What I've always said, Jim, is Donald Trump is a manifestation of America's 2 enduring sins that we refuse to confront: white supremacy and greed, racism and greed. He's the inevitable avatar of it, this grotesque vulgarity. Like you said, billions for me, $300 million ballroom for me, I get $5 billion to crypto, Peter Thiel gets what he wants, Elon Musk becomes a trillionaire, but you don't get a doll, you don't get a pencil, just suck it up, stop being lazy, stop being a moocher. My friend who's a drug trafficker, I'll pardon him. My other friend who's a billionaire who who defrauded people from 1.5 billion, he gets pardoned. But Somalis, you're garbage. I think this is instructive.
Crazy.
Because the hoods are off. The hoods are off. And I'm going to say something, and I'm going to prove it. The hoods are off and the swastikas are on. Because I remember a news story from about 2 weeks ago, Jim, that fell out. The Trump administration directed the Coast Guard to say that the noose, the Confederate flag, and the swastika were no longer symbols of hate. Insane. And remember that? They got the pushback and they're like, okay, we'll drop
They had to walk it back.
What more do you need to see, folks? They're using remigrate. That is a Nazi term. That is a Nazi term, Jim.
And the other thing too, that this just came out this afternoon, they want people who are coming into this country just like on a trip to hand over their social media accounts. Did you see this? In addition,
that was last night, and that's from our allies, England and France and Germany.
Foreigners who are allowed to come to the United States without a visa could soon be required to submit information about their social media, email accounts, and extensive family history to the Department of Homeland Security. Nobody's going to want to come here anymore.
Well, people already aren't coming, right? We already saw that tourism
That's right.
from Europe has plummeted, folks.
Plummeted.
We have lost billions of dollars. And furthermore, our brilliant immigrants who are here doing research on medicine, science, AI, they're being poached aggressively by China, Japan, and Europe. Canada is now making deals with China. China said, all right, you want to do a stupid trade war? We'll buy soy from Argentina and Brazil. Literally, white supremacy is so self-destructive, Jim.
It really is. And I mean, to me, he can't get out of the way of the White House message. They send him there to pitch this affordability message. He goes off on shithole countries. He goes off on Ilhan Omar again. Let's play the Ilhan Omar clip.
I love this Ilhan Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little turban.
The turban.
I love her. She comes in, does nothing but bitch. She's always complaining.
Okay, get him off. Get him out, as he likes to say, get him out. I mean, I just wanted to play that one part.
Yeah.
It's naked racism. It's naked sexism.
Yep.
as you said earlier, the hood is off.
Yep.
And
I
the
go
major
ahead.
news media outlets out there, they really were not covering this today. They were, oh, he's off message. Oh, he's off script again, and he doesn't stick to the teleprompter. That's not it, people. The president of the United States should not be nakedly racist like this. It's insanity.
And you know, Jim, and let's just be blunt.
Yeah.
You were at CNN. I was a contributor. And back in those days in cable news, even during the first Trump administration, there was this zombie narrative that really bothered me. Economic anxiety, racial trip up, racial flare up. It was like this game of taboo. And I said, why use multiple words when he could just use one? He's a racist. This is a man who ran. The first thing he said when he descended the brass staircase, Mexicans are rapists and criminals. He ran on the Muslim ban. In his first administration, remember, it was Democrats and Republicans that said, why can't we get people from Norway? Why do we have to get them from shithole countries? This is who he is. This is who he has always been. He is a racist. And now as he's getting older and he's dying before our eyes, and I will prove that because first and foremost, I don't know if you saw his deranged Truth Social rant post yesterday where he admits to having multiple cognitive tests. And I'm like, bro, why are you having multiple cognitive tests?
That's right.
Why did you get 2 MRIs in 6 months? Like, what's this splotch on your hand? What about the cankles?
I know. Well, when I was talking to Senator Kelly about this, he was talking about how they go around. They don't really do the dear leader thing quite as much or quite like they used to. Now it's sort of like, can they keep Grandpa awake? They're all
no. The answer is no.
They all act like they're worried about being written out of the will, and they all go around the room trying to keep him awake. And you're absolutely right with the bruises. The public, I mean, they talked about this, with respect to Joe Biden. Who's really in charge at the White House? Who's pulling the string? These are good questions for the Trump White House. Who's in charge? It seems to be Stephen Miller is basically the president right now.
Yes, and look, as pardon me for saying this, as Marco Rubio was giving him verbal fellatio on camera, Donald Trump fell asleep. He's a creature of television, and he couldn't stay awake, folks. He's fallen asleep multiple times. He's the oldest person to be elected. He survived an assassination attempt. We still don't have the hospital records. He admitted, I don't know what part of the body I got the MRI on. What do you mean you don't know? He took the dementia test. He just admitted it last night. The blotch on his hands, like these, and the double standard that you mentioned with Joe Biden. I'm so glad you did. Maybe one of our former colleagues should write a book about whether or not rhymes with Mapper.
A volume
rhymes
2.
Rhymes with Mapper. I mean, like, if you are a Trump voter, aren't you concerned about your president dying in real time?
Yeah.
Aren't you worried about him getting 2 MRIs, going to get 2 checkups, going to get 3 cognitive tests, not being able to stay awake while the camera's on, not remembering what part of his body got the MRI on? When he asked why he pardoned his business partner, CZ, who's CZ? First time I heard of him. He's your business partner that helped you and your family make $5 billion on crypto. What about the ex-Honduran president? What? I don't know. I just pardoned him, I guess. What?
He said something like he said that, well, it was like a Joe Biden witch hunt. That was the reason why he pardoned the Honduran drug runner, drug trafficker president. And he only can speak in these very simpleton talking points. And it's as though they're spoon-fed to him, like tapioca pudding spoon-fed to grandpa. That is basically what is happening right now with Donald Trump. They spoon-feed him the talking points so he can just sort of spit out a, monosyllabic response when he's asked why he does things. But if you look at the way he was behaving last night, it seemed to me the batteries were running low. The burnt sienna makeup was looking like shit. And I've been talking about this on my show. I don't know about you. Does he have the stamina to go the distance?
I know.
I mean,
I don't think so at all.
Yeah.
I think even if he doesn't die, this man is clearly on the decline. Remember, Ariel Sharon was a vegetable for years. I mean, he is. And I have one edit with you, which I think this is who he is. I don't think he's spoon-fed anything. And I'll give you an example why I say that. If you recall, when he survived the assassination attempt, right? It was leading up to the election. He put the diaper on his ear. They had a prepared speech for him. And for the first 20 minutes of that at the RNC, if you recall, he was on script. And then, Jim, for an hour, He does 9,000 words off script, and he reveals his true nature, right? So he was
Yes.
very stately and demure and thanked God. And then it ends up with him mocking and ridiculing Nancy Pelosi's husband, doing the hammer thing, being... This is who he is. He's a vulgarian. He's an egotistical, weak, fragile racist. I think they literally give him a script. Just say affordability. Affordability is a con. Okay, talk about lowering prices. Somalis are garbage. All right, just do one quip against Ilhan Omar. She's got the turban. Like, the ugliness is coming out, and I feel like if you look at the poll numbers, if you look at the data that's coming out this week, Americans are done with it because
You're done.
Too many Americans tolerate it because they thought it'd make them richer. He's in free fall in the economy, Jim. He's negative double digits. That's an Achilles cankle. Epstein files negative 35 points. That's another Achilles cankle. And I'll give you a third Achilles cankle. They can't escape the war crimes. They can't escape the scandals. They can't escape all the reckless, murder of Venezuelan fishermen, which is why today, I don't know if you saw about an hour and a half ago, according to Reuters, the Trump administration is terrified that they might be tried for international crimes, which is why they're now asking the ICC for amnesty. Jim? Have you ever voluntarily tried to ask for amnesty if you haven't done crimes, Jim?
Well, and there was a report this afternoon. I guess Trump spewed this out to reporters this afternoon that they've seized a tanker off the coast of Venezuela. So maybe he's going to declare war so that way he can say, well, we were at war and that's why we did these things. But I mean, to me, this is according to the AP. He said that the U.S. has seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. And to me, I just like, are we going to get into a war with a president of the United States who's falling asleep in cabinet meetings? When he wakes up, when he comes to, is spewing out racist rhetoric, sounds unhinged on a daily basis. I mean, this doesn't sound like a good recipe for things going well with a military conflict.
My fear is that Donald Trump is a New York City cornered sewer rat, no disrespect to sewer rats. And he is a man who has shown no fidelity to anyone but himself and his own survival. And as he sinks, my fear is, and it's always been my fear, that him and Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi will declare the Insurrection Act and martial law. They've already used the word insurrection multiple times. When he was asked recently, are you opposed to the Insurrection Act? He didn't say no. Wag the dog. If it means distraction from Epstein and the economy, I think they will go to war. In Project 2025, it was already written that they want to do get rid of Maduro and put in a yes man to get access to Venezuelan oil. So that's part of Project 2025. And I think they're playing for all the marbles, folks. I think the hoods are off. Once you go full Nazi, it's very hard to go back, Jim. And that's where I'm really worried about. Yes, it's small, but it's a radicalized, increasingly violent, unhinged minority that has power.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing too is we may be heading towards a constitutional crisis because there was a federal judge who ordered the administration to immediately end its occupation of Los Angeles, so they can't have the California National Guard there. Of course, this will go to the Supreme Court, and we'll see what happens. Maybe the MAGA Supreme Court will bail him out like they do every time. But if they rule against him, the question becomes: does Donald Trump defy the Supreme Court? And then we're in smack dab in the middle of a constitutional crisis. And then I think we do get to a place where he may just may go for broke. And when he comes out of his stupor, declares the Insurrection Act. And I don't know what the hell we do at that point. If the Supreme Court says, well, no, you can't do that because there's nothing happening. It's a manufactured crisis that you're responding to and calling an insurrection. What the hell do we, I mean, I've asked a lot of smart people about it. I don't know what the hell happens.
I think we have to keep our eyes wide open. And I know people say, oh, you and Jim are being hyperbolic. I want to remind you all, this man incited a violent insurrection instead of peacefully transferring power. He then pardoned the 1600 insurrectionists. They've made him into martyrs. This is a man who said he wants to terminate the Constitution. He wants to be a dictator for a day. This is a man who threatened to unleash the National Guard against the enemy of the people. Did that. So with all that being said, and what he said, folks, is it out of the realm of imagination that they will invoke the Insurrection Act and try to go for martial law before the 2026 elections. And this is why I need you to trust the evidence of your eyes and ears, folks. I need you to invest in the imagination. This man is capable of doing anything. And this is where we need the multicultural coalition, the majority, enough Republicans, enough judges. And I hope, they keep being so reckless and so disastrous, and the economy is going to get worse, folks, that even if they attempt it, and I think they will, that it fails. But I need people to keep their eyes wide open, Jim. And when people say you and me are being hysterical, he incited a violent insurrection, and to this day, he says he won the election that he lost, Jim.
That's right. We can't, it is impossible. And we should just state this to wrap it up. It is impossible to be more hysterical than the president of the United States. I mean, he's the most hysterical person in the room everywhere he goes, including at this rally that he had last night. Wajahat, great to see you, man. As always, long live the rebellion. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. And remember, rebellions are always built on hope.
That's it. As always, hope is our best hope. Thanks, Wajahat. Great to see you as always. Really appreciate it. We'll sign off now. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.